Welcome, this is Shelley Vale Smith with Brightspot Ed, talking about communication and how to get better at it, especially during a global pandemic. And we know that communication is essential always, but especially in times when information is rapidly changing. And I wanted to share one of my favorite quotes by George Bernard Shaw, which is, "The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place." And so we try really hard to communicate, but often it fails in the actual implementation. So what I want to talk today about is a communication plan. And so the first question is, do you even need a plan? If you exist in an organizational chart, then your organization needs a plan. If you are a school principal, your school needs a communication plan. So the first tip is to create this plan. And so this really is to be clear on who is communicating and what are they communicating and how are they doing this. And this is going to make it easier for you and the people who are charged with implementing the plan, and it's also going to make it easier for others to see what you're doing. The second tip is to really decide who your audience is. For us in education, our students and parents, our teachers, and our community. And this is really important when we get to tip number 3, because we have to determine what needs to be communicated. And what I suggest is actually drawing out this matrix, having audience and then the message, because this keeps you from forgetting about groups of people. And so it's easy to target our information to parents and to teachers, even the community. But oftentimes we forget to talk to students, and they are our biggest stakeholder. Tip 4, determine how you will communicate. And we use a lot of different ways, verbal, written. We're increasingly using visual, but just realize that if you use visuals, then if you are videoing yourself, then your nonverbal communication skills are really going to come through. The one that's probably most underutilized is listening. And so what I encourage you to do is to make sure that you are using multiple modes in your communication plan. Obviously, social and mobile communication has become increasingly important, but just as a reminder, even though most people use this, there are people who do not use these modes. Tip 5, use your team, because the more people you have working on this, the greater the reach. And with the plan, you can have assigned roles and procedures that make this doable. So for organizations, one of the things that the business world has done for a long time is cascade communication. And what this really means is, starting at the top, what is our plan for communicating to the next level? What is their plan for communicating to the next level? How does this go out to all employees? How does this go out to the public? How does this go out to each group? And what is the message? Because what happens oftentimes, we sit around a conference table, we're listening to one person talk, they're saying one thing, and people are understanding things that are entirely different. So it really helps, tip 6, to have talking points, because we really don't want this game of gossip where I hear one thing, I communicate that, the next person gets a version of it and passes that on, and it looks nothing like it started out with. And so if we have talking points, it really keeps people on point so that there is less confusion. Tip 7, determine when and how often you will communicate, because we know timing is crucial. And so for routine messages, we really want to have an expected day and time. So if that's Sunday evening, is that Monday morning? Is it Friday afternoon? Putting it in a routine lets people know when it's coming and they can look for it. Also, just keep in mind that there are good times and bad times for posting on social media. And here is a summary of those, courtesy of Dan Gray. He did a great job of compiling that data. Tip 8, find the holes. I believe very strongly in after action reviews so that your team can sit down and determine, okay, this went well, this did not go nearly as well as we wanted. What can we do next time that will make that? And if you will continuously do that, your communication plan will get increasingly more effective. Tip 9, consistency and authenticity. You know that your messages need to be aligned with your core organizational values. We want it to be consistent and reliable, and I don't think it ever hurts to be vulnerable and admit to our audience. This is difficult to communicate, especially in our times of pandemic right now where information is changing. They will not hold that against you, and in fact will empathize with you for this difficult task. Tip 10, make it easy to reference. What you really want is a repository of information so that if people have questions, they know where to go to get it. If you have frequently asked question documents, your webinars, your announcements, knowing where to go to find information is going to help your audience. So thank you so much for participating. Again, this and other recordings of webinars is on our website at brightspoted.com. And you will also have the templates for the after action review and a template for writing your own communication plan. We hope that you follow us on social media, and thank you so much for tuning in today.